the Nigerian Export Promotion Council says it has achieved a 20.79% increase in the value of the country's non-oil export, reaching a total of $5.456 billion in 2024. Well, the organization says it will double the nation's export in 2027. The executive director of the Promotion Council released the figures during a press conference on the performance report of the agency here in Abuja. Well, she described this significant growth as a reflection of the resilience and diversification of Nigeria's export sector beyond crude oil, a shift aimed at reducing the country's reliance on oil revenue. Joining me now is the Executive Director and CEO of the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, Nonye Ayeni. Thank you so much for being on Newsnight.
Thank you, Adeswa.
Great.
I'm delighted to be here.
We're starting the year on a high. I mean, this is great news in terms of the economy and, of course, Forex is bringing to the country. But you would agree with me that they say the devil is in the details.
Yeah.
So let's begin by finding out which markets are taking these export products that we have. Can you tell us the products that dominated this non-oil export and what destination did they go?
You have cocoa beans, and cocoa beans, the highest importer of Nigerian cocoa beans is Netherlands. You also have France, you have Germany, you also have US. So basically European companies, US and other countries. And then the second largest export product or commodity is urea and fertilizer. It went to Brazil.
Interesting. I was expecting to hear perhaps African countries, but I think it also highlights how Africa doesn't trade enough amongst themselves. I mean, if these products are going to Europe and the US, not so much of Africa.
No, we have export. You just asked. The first one is cocoa beans. You have the second one is urea and fertilizer. We have sesame. We have other products. Incidentally, we have a lot of products going to African countries.
Ah, interesting.
Oh, yes. Okay. Even with the advent of African...
The AFCFTA.
Yeah, AFCFTA, yes. So a lot of products, especially the manufactured goods in commodities, in cosmetics, in tea, they are going to African countries. Nice,
that's great news. That's a relief, especially when we have the AFCFTA and we're doing all we can to make sure that it works. Let me ask you also, how does this work? Because there are those who have raised concerns that primarily traders are just exporting these products to make profit and not so much consideration is put into local production and local consumption of this product. So are we balancing our exports of this product and local consumption?
Okay, first of all, we also have to, when we scale up production for food sufficiency and also for export. And you see the volume of production is also increasing across all the 6 geopolitical regions of the country. You see a lot of institutions giving out seedlings. For instance, Nigerian Export Promotion Council in 2024 gave out seedlings and farm inputs to 1,200 farmers in the north. In the north, we gave out sesame seeds and hibiscus. In the west, we gave out cashew, and in the east, we gave out palm seedlings. And the same way, some other institutions are also giving out seedlings and inputs just to enhance production for food sufficiency and also for export.
In other words, local production and consumption is not suffering as a result of these export numbers we're seeing?
No, because there is consumption, there is production for consumption. And again, some of these exportable commodities, for instance, urea and fertilizer, we have, and we're exporting. You have Dangote, you have Indorama also producing. And then the cocoa beans, remember, you have cocoa beans, and then it's exported for them to make, because of chocolate in Netherlands and in Europe.
Fantastic. Some will argue that as a result of our devalued currency and the gap in Forex exchange, perhaps that's why we're seeing this much numbers, 20.79% you've recorded for 2024.
Yeah.
For those who argue that this is one of the benefits of a devalued Naira, what do you say to them? How much, to what extent has the weaker Naira contributed to these numbers we're seeing?
Okay, we also increased in terms of the metric tons. The metric tons increased to 7.2 million metric tons in terms of exported products out of this country. So we increased both in volume and in value. So yes, the increase in exchange rate between 2023 and 2024 is marginal. Remember, the exchange rate has increased even in 2023. Mm-hmm. And again, if you look at the metric ton, 7.2 is not a mean sum.
Indeed. So because when our naira is devalued, then our products become cheaper and attractive for the foreigners to come get.
No, you see, it's a competitive market. Mm-hmm. The global market is a marketplace where demand and supply. So it's not about only our currency. It's about level of production in the country and level of aggregate demand in the global market. And the good thing is that Nigerian products are well sought after in the global market. For instance, our sesame is one of the best because of the oil content. Our ginger is the best because it's the most pungent. Everyone wants Nigerian ginger. Our commodities are the best. And you see, in Nigeria, we have practically a little bit of organic farming, which is what everyone seeks after. So it's not about devaluation of naira. It's about what we have as a country. We are gifted as a country. We have enormous resources, so many agricultural products that are demanded in the global market.
We have the ginger. I love that line. I think I'm going to go with it. Nigeria has the ginger. But let me also ask you, how sustainable is this in the long term? These are great figures. Yeah, starting the year, like I said, on a high from 2024 report. But how sustainable is this?
It is very sustainable.
What are the measures in place?
Let me say, with the active diversification of the economy away from oil to non-oil by the current administration's implementation of trade policies under the Renew Hope agenda to diversify away from oil. That is one area that will make it sustainable. Then the trade agreements driven by our Honorable Minister, Dr. Jumoko Oduwole, to ensure that we actually improve on the bilateral trade between Nigeria and other countries is also one. Then NEPC flagship campaign, Double Your Export, and all the campaigns and all the advocacies, collaborations with development partners and even other agencies to ensure that we increase the volume and value of our exportable product is there. But then don't forget the informal trade. This figure is actually not the total sum. There's a lot going out through the various borders that are not really mainstreamed. So one of the things that NEPC is trying to do is to mainstream this informal trade. If you go to in the north, in the west, if we mainstream them, you see this volume increasing. So I think, remember, don't also forget services. Services contributes over 50% of the GDP. Nigeria stands tall when you look at the entertainment industry, the Nollywoods, the Afro music, they are grossly unstructured. We're also trying to mainstream it. By the time you mainstream this and it's well documented, so I believe it is sustainable when you consider all of these factors.
Let me ask you as well, because you talked about trade agreements that the Minister of Trade and Investment is working on. Can you tell us, I mean, you've mentioned the countries where these exports are going to, the Netherlands, the US, and African countries. Are there trade agreements or partnerships that we are focusing on this year, 2025? What's the goal for non-oil exports?
Okay, it's not just, I just mentioned Nigerian commodities last year, we exported to 126 countries.
Fantastic.
And we exported 246 distinct agricultural products.
With no issues, no returns,
no there will, naturally, in every country, there will be rejects. And we are working on that to ensure that we improve on the standard, and which is why Nigerian Export Promotion Council, in collaboration with the development partners, are building the capacity of exporters, training them on good agricultural practices, on packaging, on labeling, just from the farm gate to market access. So Nigerian goods are going to all over the whole world, 126 countries. And then with regards to the trade agreements, Nigeria has bilateral trade agreements, which is being handled by the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, and that is being renewed. and revived and reviewed to the extent that Nigeria stands a better chance.
Yeah, I guess my question was really, are there any new destinations we're looking at, or we are looking to improve on those 126 countries for 2025?
Okay, last year we exported to 124 countries. That's 2023. We exported to 124 countries.
Okay.
But in 2024, we added 2 more countries. Central African Republic and one other country was added. So we continue to improve on the number. We also continue to increase on the volume that go to these countries.
Before I let you go, let's talk about the challenges. I mean, it cannot be all rosy. There's nowhere it's all rosy. Some of the challenges that you have to face as a council, and when you talk about the packaging, labeling from farm to plate for our exporters, what is the biggest challenge we are facing when it comes to exporting our non-oil produce?
First of all, I'll start by saying that challenges are part of life.
We know, but they exist.
Yes, challenges. So whatever challenge you meet, you're able to weather the storm. However, one of the major things that we are dealing with in the council is to find ways of reducing rejects.
Okay.
We see sometimes on the news, Nigerian commodities rejected in so countries. So that is the reason that this year, 2024, sorry, last year, 2024, we carried out 639 programs across all the 6 geopolitical zones. We impacted 64,000 participants. What are we doing? Training them on good agricultural practices. We're also in partnership with ITC, Geneva, with WTO. We're in partnership with GIZ in Germany and CIB in Netherlands. So they are bringing experts. We are working on them, going to the farm gate, teaching them the level of pesticides, making sure that it is reduced, working on different things to ensure that we meet up with the quality and standards in the global market.
Great. We look forward to a fantastic 2025 report as well. Thank you so much. The CEO, she's the Executive Director and CEO of the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, Nonye Ayeni. Thank you so much for being on the news tonight.
Thank you. I'm glad.
We do appreciate the work you do.
Okay, thank you so much.